Wadia is thank you. Wadia is live in the studio, and our guest this morning is Adekunle James. He's author and CEO of Authors Bridge. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Week.
Oh,
Happy New
Good. Oh, Loretta is there as well.
It's a full house this morning.
How are
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Alex.
Good to have you.
It's so good to be here.
All right. So
tell us, what exactly is Authors Bridge?
All right. Otto's Bridge is a writing hub of brilliant young writers. So what we do is we do everything in the chain of writing and publishing. So we ghostwrite, we do professional edit, we do book layout, we do cover design, we do everything up until publishing. We also do ebook publishing. So everything in the chain of writing and publishing your book. That's what Authors Bridge is about.
Okay. So tell us, what exactly were you doing before you got started with Authors Bridge? What did you study? How did you get started? What inspired? We were very curious here.
All right. So I studied mass communication in the university, and while I did that with an undertone interest. I've always had interest in politics and nation building. So that's another a major part of my interest and my life. So after doing that, I came out of the university and worked as a legislative aide at the National Assembly for a certain senator. I was there, and then I started Authors Bridge because I discovered that a lot of people, I'm a very good writer right from school. A lot of people meet me when they want to write anything, from letters to projects to academic projects to articles. So I'm just that go-to guy when anybody wants to write, do anything writing. So I mean, I've done a ton of that for free for friends and family until I just started to notice that yes, this something good can come out of this. A business model structure can come out of this. So I mean, so while I was at the National Assembly, I started to explore that possibility, because I noticed that a lot of senators, honorable, they really have huge achievement. Most of them are at the top of their careers, maybe got to the top of their career before they cross into politics, and they want to write about their lives, they want to write their biographies, but they're just too busy or they don't have the expertise. So I just started to fill in that gap, and before you know it, a company was formed out of that.
Okay.
I'm always glad when I'm talking to authors because I'm an author myself. So what does it
Amazing.
take? What does it take to write? Anybody can write, but what does it take to structure out writing and turn it into something that brings in your bread and butter every day?
Oh, so writing, even though it might sound like something easy to do, actually is not, might not be so easy, especially because it requires a lot of dedication and commitment, which is, I mean, because of the hustle and bustle, because of survival, it's difficult to get to commit that time, especially when you're writing a book. It requires hours upon hours of writing and rewriting. You're going to end up with some 200, 300 pages of finely written words when one page can take you an average of 1 hour. So it requires that kind of dedication, which is something that is difficult, especially in a place like Nigeria, where it's very difficult to find time to sit down and focus. There's always one to the other. So that's like a major factor to writing. And besides that, there's a lot of expertise that also is required. Some people, it comes natural for some people to write. Some other people, it's just difficult. I mean, as little as just writing caption for their post on maybe Instagram or Facebook, they'll be on their phone for hours saying, oh, more, how do I go about it? How do I write this? So, I mean, that's also another factor to it, and, you know, many other things. So as easy as it sounds, yeah, it's something that people are willing to pay highly for. You know, in school, a lot of work put, I was able to literally sustain myself in school while I was in university years ago because of a lot of writing gigs. I was able to, and even though I felt like, why would somebody just pay for, you want a 200-page article, why don't you just write it? Why would you pay somebody to do it? Or, I mean, apparently people would pay, and even now, like, it's even bigger. I have bigger budget, and people pay just to get somebody to write their work for them. So
Okay, so beyond writing for people, you're an author yourself.
yeah.
Kind of the kind of books you've written. First one on politics, that one has my interest.
All right, so I have a book launching today. We're doing a big book launch today. I co-authored a book with Senator Babafemi Ojudu, the special advisor to the president on political affairs. And later today, we're going to be launching that book. It's been a long time coming on that project. And so because I mentioned earlier that I have keen interest in politics, so I've written, say 4 books, 4 and maybe 1 ebook. And mostly out of the 5, 4 of it are politics based. I'm interested, my interest lies in fixing Nigeria, rebuilding Nigeria. So, I mean, I tend to write more in that direction. And the book we're launching today, we have a book launching today that is called Politics That Works. It's a book to help young people. It's a project that we're doing to help populate Nigerian political space with young, creative, and dynamic people, young people that are doing so well in their business space, in entertainment space, people that are cutting boundaries, are doing, bringing home global awards and doing excellently well in other fields. We're doing this project to bring that energy into politics so that we can fix our country, we can transform Nigeria. So that's what this Policies That Work book is about. And it's a manual that really broke down how people can participate in politics, how people can, young people can understand the process step by step. The book, Senator Babafemi Ojudu, my co-author, is a political strategist. I mean, that's why he's the special advisor on politics to the president. He was campaign manager for Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was running for governorship in 1999. He was campaign manager for several other governors, for senators, for even presidents. So he has that wealth of political experience, and we were able to bring that. We're able to tap into that and soak a lot of those strategies into that book. And we also interviewed about 5.
Right now, we're going to focus on Author's Bridge. Adekunle, I know you can go on and on and on about you're excited about it. So now let's talk about Author's Bridge. Is it just you working with Author's Bridge, or you have other people working with you? How many of you do this together?
Oh yes, it's a quite big. Okay, not so big. It's still an SME, but yes, I have staffs. I have people that I have staffs that work in the company, but mostly I have contract staffs. I have people that work on contract basis. I have about 3 in-house staffs that work. We have somebody doing marketing. We have somebody. We have a writer, an editor, and then we have an administrative staff. So then beside that, we have a big team. So when we have projects, we build a team around every project. So sometimes we have 5, 6 people on one project. So we have contract staff that we bring in when we are writing projects. We can do a 6 month contract with some other person outside, but we're still trying to scale up. But that's in the long run, that's how we've been running the organization so far.
How capital intensive is it?
To write a book or to run the company? Which one?
Both of them.
All right. Yes, it's from our end, it's more of an intellectual work. There are businesses that you have to buy raw material, and then you resell, but this is purely intellectual work. So on the average, we charge for, say, to ghostwrite an autobiography, we charge an average of say $500,000 to $1 million naira, depending on the kind of work we're going to put into it, depending on what the person wants. So say we charge, we don't even charge 500 anymore actually. So maybe say from 700 to 1 million naira. And the project will run for about 6 to 8 months. And we put about 4 to 5 people on the team. We put a graphic designer on the team. We put a writer. We put an editor on the team for that project. So I used to tell clients that it might sound expensive, but look at, if you consider the duration of the project and the team money that are going to get paid per month is not actually so expensive. So yeah, from the end of the writers, they have to pay part with, and that's just for writing. Then they now publish after the book is ready. They now, there's another conversation on printing the book.
That cost actually has to do with publishing as well, or it's just your?
No. That's just for writing. That's just for writing the book, and maybe writing, editing, doing the book layout, doing the cover design, getting the ISBN and copyright, just doing everything except publishing. So that publishing is another conversation entirely. That is, so when the book is ready, we talk about whether you want to publish it online or you want to print the book, and then that's another conversation entirely.
So how does this work? I want to write a book about my life, and I'll call you. So how, because you don't know my life now, how do we not get it? How do we not get this to work?
All right, so this is the process here. We schedule interviews with you, and okay, from maybe a 30-minute conversation, if you just give me the idea of what you want to write about, we'll do the book planning. And by book planning, we mean we would suggest titles to you for the book. We'll do the chapterization, the table of content, and do a short introduction to the book. So if I talk to you for 30 minutes and you try to tell me what you want to write about, why you are writing, I'll just ask you a few questions. I can do that. I can plan the book for you. Then we now decide, okay, so it's going to be 5 chapters, this one for first. And so once the book is planned, we pick out the chapters or sub chapters one after the other and have meetings. Meetings perhaps like this. You tell me what you want in here, you tell me the stories, you tell me all of that, and then I go and write, and then I build on it. And some will require research, some just story based, some would have to interview other people, talk to your family and friends, talk to your colleagues. So depending on how wide the project is, how you want the book to be. So we'll just gather information like that and then do the writing and then remit to you. We do back and forth, then we go to the next chapter. We do that until the entire book is complete.
All right. So there's some effort put into that.
You mentioned that you charge anything from 700,000 and above when it comes to writing a book. And my question is this, being in the creative space, and you said something about it's more intellectual. How do you ascertain the cost? People asked you now if you needed to write a book, autobiography or something. You've mentioned so many things, the idea, the research. So how do you determine that cost to be sure that the financing that is required for that book is the right amount of money? Because what sometimes does happen is you charge me 700,000 and then you come back and say, oh, it's not going to be enough. How do you ensure that you're able to actually get the right amount of money that is required for you to do that work and still make a profit on it?
Okay, so actually that has never even happened with. I'm just thinking, trying to reflect, and I'm like, I've never gone back to a client to say what I charged you is not enough. Let's do more, because I know that sometimes I've taken jobs that I'm like, I'm never doing this again. There's no way anybody comes back with this money and I'll take it again. But then if we have signed an agreement, yeah, and because that's how we start. Once we have a deal, we sign an agreement and we start. Once we sign an agreement, there's usually almost impossible to go back and say, oh, it's not enough, because we break down all the elements of the project. So there's the book writing fee, there's the book editing fee, there's the interior layout fee, there's the book cover design fee. So we itemize it like that and put a cost to it. We also, part of the book planning is to also know to also determine how intense that work is going to be, how intense, what is required, what level of research is required, what frequency of interview. I can tell how many interviews we're going to have, maybe 1 hour interview that would be enough, that would be sufficient to get enough information from you to write the book. So it's just, and I think over time in this space, you'll be able to, those things would come natural. You'll be able to tell what all of those things, to plan it effectively. Obviously, when we started, I've also charged amounts that we didn't get, that there was no profit at all. Maybe it even cost more, but mostly it's more of service. So service cannot really be quantified. You can't put, unlike products, service is what, I mean, I might want to write for you and I charge you $1 million, and somebody else can charge you 200,000. He's going to be the one writing. So I mean, it's really difficult to put a fixed price on a service. So I think with that, yeah.
Okay. So I'm even more curious about the space. Yeah. So how do you position yourself to be able to get the right clients value your work? As you said, the service. So some people might not value it as much. So how do you position yourself? What tools do you use to get the right people?
We have an in-house marketing officer. We have people that are on contract to look for clients, but they are people that how do I see this? So there are different products for different people. You can't take ice to an Eskimo to sell. They need it because they literally live there. So there are people that need these services that we know that stage in their life where they should document what the experiences they've had in life. We know people that you can just tell that are successful in their space would most likely want to write it, did not even written already, because they have they have something to say, they have a story to tell. Yes, and so those are the kind of people we target. We look out for people that are doing well in their space, or people that have gone through something unique, or that have a certain unique experience, and then we propose to them and all of that. And sometimes and it's not absolute here. Sometimes you feel like, oh, these young people don't necessarily want to write a book, and then we'll have a page on Instagram, for example, and somebody just reached out that is a very young person to write the story of my life so far, and the person is willing to pay, the person is willing to actually do it. So it's not absolute, but there's a target that we focus, yet we still try to advertise and reach out to everybody and see people that are interested.
All right. How do you source your writers now? I mean, can you be approached, by a writer?
Yes, but there is just like when recruitment is made for other positions, there are ways to tell if you are good. There are elements I look out for. If I want to work with a writer, I know you must be able to write different in different style of writing. You must be able to do prose style. You must be able to write articles. So there are things we look out for. Primarily, create your creativity, how wide your imaginations can go. Because a lot of times with writing, your imagination has to work better than any other person. You enjoy writing when you can create it, when you can see it, when it's like a movie in your head. I mean, it flows that way. That way, writing is enjoyable. You are able to stick to a project, you follow a line, just like, when you are seeing a series that is interesting, and you just can't wait to see another episode and see another episode. So it has to become real to people. So there are ways to tell writers that have that imaginative edge, and that are very creative when it comes to their writing. So yes, we've recruited a couple of times. We give them tests, we conduct interviews, and then you can just tell when somebody has it in them.
So you work in the content space. How would you say the sector is doing? How would you rate it? How would you rate the content sector now? Because a lot of times we're all into manufacturing and all of that, but this is content, is something that we can't hold. How would you say the sector is doing? Are we progressing? Are we embracing it?
Yes, I mean, since the advent of the internet and the world keeps, that's an industry that has been growing and is still growing, because more and more people are getting digital. They want people to be able to see their product and see their brand and read a short thing and understand it.
Hello.
I think we lost Alex there.
Alex, where are you? We're talking about this last week, or this is sort of linked to what we're talking about, the fact that, it's an intangible service. So there's going to be some sort of issue with valuing what it has to be, but it has to be valued so that you can also value the content giver as well. It's all for money.
Sure.
And those are some of the things. And he did mention a number of things like you needed to put in place.
Yes.
One of the things I was happy that you mentioned, you needed to put an agreement in place so that you don't have to go back to the customer, but you need to break it down into the different segments that you feel you need to create value for. But because the value is not tangible, so in creating that intrinsic value, you need to be sure, one, what your style is, how good you write, your diction, and a number of things, which is some of the things that he's spoken to in terms of testing writers. Creatives are, and it was one of the next questions I was going to, how do I invest in you as a creative? Because if I was to put $1 million down for you to grow this business, how do you go about it? Because
what's the value I get?
Exactly. But what you're telling me that you're going to write, how do I know that you're going to write 10 books and the books are going to be successful?
And also, how do I protect my work? Because we've found situations where you've gone to publishers to do ABC for you, and before you know it, your books are in places where you have no idea, and you're thinking to yourself, how? Because this one happened to someone. In fact, it happened to my sister when she went to this publisher, and somebody calls her from Ogun State and say, hey, in this particular university, they're using your book in the literature department to do ABC and XYZ. And she's thinking to herself, how in the world did he get there? Where's my money?
So it's critical for creatives.
Hello.
Hey, Alex.
Hi, Alex, are you back on?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I think my internet, my internet must have tripped off.
Okay, that's fine.
It's okay.
All right.
Loretta, you want to go with the question?
Yeah, so just about the future of, the company next, as well as what are your own career goals in the next 10 years and how do you align?
Okay, so for Otto's Bridge, it is beyond just writing and just making money. We are trying to we're trying to bridge the knowledge gap in Africa. And one of the biggest problem that has been identified for the underdevelopment in Africa is the distance from transformative knowledge. So we have too many. We are underdeveloped as Africa because illiteracy is high. People are not so enlightened, and so that gap is so wide. That's what we're trying to bridge. We're trying to improve literacy in Africa. We're trying to get people to share their solutions. We're trying to get people to be able to become enlightened and broadened. So that's the big goal for us. So it is not just about writing; it's about also bridging the literacy gap in Africa.
All right. Okay, so I was going to ask you when you went off about how do you protect people's works? You know, I gave an example of my sister who, with a particular publisher, found her books were being distributed in places where she had no idea. You know, how do you protect people's works who come to you for writing jobs?
Also, we do. I think that. Okay, so recently I also saw there's this Honorable Akinlabi. He wrote a book recently, and I was passing by, I saw some copies being sold for 1,000 naira on the floor. And by the time I checked, I saw that they were pirated copies. So I think this has been a practice from way back, that we're just trying to just like we also had it in the movie industry, we're trying to evolve to a place where we can get better with it. So it has been a practice for a long time, but I think maybe what you are, the exact in context, it is protecting from the publishing term. So
Yes.
so maybe for your sister's example is the publisher themselves or the publishing company themselves printing copies and selling. That is preposterous. It is. I've never heard this before, and I didn't even know that this existed. I believe that every publishing firm should be able to. There's a contract that is being signed, for example, with us, that protects you. That all of those things. So everybody we've written for, we sign a contract, and all of those things are taken care of in the contract. We give you, you go through, and then you bring it back, we sign and start. So that publishing firm should be sued if there was a contract signed, and I mean that's on their integrity and all of that. For us, integrity is very key. It's very, very key to us. And we're not just even a publishing firm. So we protect your intellectual property. Even though we wrote it for you, we cannot use it. We cannot use that content again for any other person. Even though we have access to your soft copy, we literally created it. It is now your property. And then if we have to write something similar for somebody else, there must not even be a sentence looking alike. So I mean, it's very important. It's a key part of this work that we take very seriously, and I think every other publishing firm should do. And I feel that any client, anybody that is going to patronize a ghostwriting and a publishing firm should ensure that that there's a contract, a very detailed contract that covers all of this, so that if anything like this is discovered, they'll be able to sue and get justice for the injustice here.
All right.
As usual, time is never a friend, and we need to go. So, give us that phrase, that thing that wakes you up in the morning and says, you know what, as Alex, this is what I do, and this is my motto to move me to the next day and to the next minute and to the next second.
So I believe that if you're a Nigerian, yeah, the Ozu spirit will move you to wake up if you have to survive in harsh territory like this. I mean, that's just an light note. That's just
you know,
Sorry?
some people
the quote that drives Alex.
Yes. Okay. So what drives me primarily is to work and to do everything. I'm trying to put it all together now. I think primarily it's God.
Short phrase.
You know, some people say when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So what's that line? That's just that phrase or that particular sentence that keeps you going.
I think I would say it's God. Let me just put it that way, and not the cliche that everybody says. It's actually a sound relationship with God, a connection with something that is beyond me and that is so close to me. I think that I'll just put it that way. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Actually, fine.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
And I also, thank you, Loretta.
All right, then have a lovely day.
Thank you guys so much.
All right. That's all we can take this morning on Business Hour. It comes your way at 8 o'clock every Monday morning here on Classic FM 97.3, and it's brought to you in partnership with Nairametrics.